45 হয়ে গেছে।
Pranam Maharaj.
নমস্কার, নমস্কার।
Namaskar.
Okay, we'll start with the prayer. You tell him to increase the volume. To sound. So, namaste to all. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya avirāvirmayedhi. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Akhandam Satchidanandam Avang Manasagocharam Atmanam Akhiladharam Asraye Bhrishta Siddhai. May we be protected, may we be nourished. May we strive with energy and vigor. May our study be enlightening and not give rise to hostility. Om, peace, peace, peace. Lead us to truth and not to untruth. Lead us to enlightenment, not ignorance. Lead us to immortality and not death. Let the self-manifest Atman grow in me. Om, peace, peace, peace. I take refuge in the self, the indivisible, that existence, consciousness, bliss, absolute, beyond the reach of words and thought, and the substratum of all, for the attainment of my cherished desire. So last time we did not read from the complete works of Swamiji. So let us today we can read and then we'll proceed on our text.
Should I start now, Swami?
Yes, because if I start then I'll forget.
Okay. I'm reading from Swami Vivekananda's lecture entitled Maya and the Evolution of the Conception of God, delivered in London. Why, under the reign of an almighty and all-loving God of the universe, should diabolical things be allowed to remain? Why so much more misery than happiness, and so much more wickedness than good? We may shut our eyes to all these things, but the fact still remains that this world is a hideous world. At best, it is the hell of Tantalus. Here we are with strong impulses and stronger cravings for sense enjoyments, but cannot satisfy them. There rises a wave which impels us forward in spite of our own will, and as soon as we move one step comes a blow. We are all doomed to live here like Tantalus. Ideals come into our head far beyond the limit of our sense ideals. But when we seek to express them, we cannot do so. On the other hand, we are crushed by the surging mass around us. Yet if I give up all idealism and merely struggle through this world, my existence is that of a brute, and I degenerate and degrade myself. Neither way is happiness. Unhappiness is the fate of those who are content to live in this world, born as they are. 1,000 times greater misery is the fate of those who dare to stand forth for truth and for higher things, and who dare to ask for something higher than mere brute existence here. These are the facts. But there is no explanation. There cannot be any explanation. But the Vedanta shows the way out. You must bear in mind that I have to tell you facts that will frighten you sometimes. But if you remember what I say, think of it and digest it. It will be yours. It will raise you higher and make you capable of understanding and living in truth.
The few things. So first we see the evil forces also are working in this world. So as we know that when there is anything going up, it comes down. So like wave, everything is cyclic. That's one thing. Secondly, like evil forces also, if there is evil forces, there are saintly forces also. So this is the nature of duality. Anything happens, the counter, like matter, antimatter. So it is not that it is good or bad. Something, what is good for us now becomes bad if we get something better. So this is only relative, and in relative world this is there. But one thing is sure, that here it is full of misery. As Sri Krishna also said, Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. Getting this temporary world which is full of misery, worship me. So this is temporary, no doubt. One thing more that Swamiji said, those who are brute, they are happy because they don't feel this misery. And those who have gone beyond, they are also happy. Only those who are in between, they suffer. So there is a shloka, Yecha Mudhatama Loki, like who are fools, and Yecha Buddhya Paramgata. And the person who has gone beyond, ubhaute sukhamedhatte, both live in live happily. Klishati antarito jana. Only in between those who has this awareness, they suffer. Therefore, we are to try to go beyond this suffering. That is what we pray also. So this suffering, how can we get rid of? As a devotee, we can remember God, we can worship God, we live in God, we have a relationship with Him. So that way we can get rid of. The knowledge is a little different. It analyzes the nature of things, and ultimately it shows that this world is only apparent, not real. The reality is behind. So by contemplating on the reality, one can avoid this apparent world. And a yogi, he meditates and he removes the mental modifications from his mind, and he is absorbed in his own self, samadhi. So this way we find, and also karmi, we find those who are karmi, they are working incessantly without any selfish end. So they also have that, they also achieve the same goal. Yes.
Now, it is a statement of fact that this world is a Tantalus's hell, that we do not know anything about this universe. Yet at the same time, we cannot say that we do not know. I cannot say that this chain exists when I think that I do not know it. It may be an entire delusion of my brain. I may be dreaming all the time. I am dreaming that I am talking to you and that you are listening to me. No one can prove that it is not a dream. My brain itself may be a dream, and as to that, no one has ever seen his own brain. We all take it for granted. So it is with everything. My own body I take for granted. At the same time, I cannot say I do not know. This standing between knowledge and ignorance, this mystic twilight, the mingling of truth and falsehood, and where they meet, no one knows. We are walking in the midst of a dream, half sleeping, half waking, passing all our lives in a haze. This is the fate of every one of us. This is the fate of all sense knowledge. This is the fate of all philosophy, of all boasted science, of all boasted human knowledge. This is the universe.
Yeah, see, like when we see even something, it's only some impressions that we receive. And then we interpret according to our own samskara, own impressions. So, what exactly is the source of the impulses? We only imp, um, we only imply, we only conceive, we only project. So we don't know what exactly is this world. But what we do, we have a concept, and it depends on our knowledge and experience and accumulated impressions that we have this concept of this world. So, beyond this concept, we do not know what really it is. Whether it is existence or non-existence, even Chandogya Upanishad, there it says, Asat, Asad eva idam agre asit. It was Asat, and then Sat asit. Then argument comes, how From asat, sat can exist or grow. Therefore, ultimately it is something sat, from there, some existence, and from there it springs. So, this conflict, though it will be there, the conflict will be there, but behind this, that reality is hidden. We are to discover that reality. Yes.
What you call matter, or spirit, or mind, or anything else you may like to call them, the fact remains the same. We cannot say that they are. We cannot say they are not. We cannot say they are one. We cannot say they are many. This eternal play of light and darkness, indiscriminate, indistinguishable, inseparable, is always there. A fact, yet at the same time not a fact, awake and at the same time asleep. This is a statement of facts, and this is what is called Maya. We are born in this Maya. We live in it. We think in it. We dream in it. We are philosophers in it. We are spiritual men in it. Nay, we are devils in this Maya, and we are gods in this Maya. Stretch your ideas as far as you can make them higher and higher. Call them infinite, or by any other name you please. Even these ideas are within this Maya. It cannot be otherwise. And the whole of human knowledge is a generalization of this Maya, trying to know it as it appears to be. This is the work of Namarupa, name and form. Everything that has form, everything that calls up an idea in your mind is within Maya. For everything that is bound by the laws of time, space, and causation is within Maya.
Yeah, we can find new definition. Say like we have cyberspace. And in that cyberspace, we have the whole universe. Similarly, this world, like a cyberspace, it looks like it's a universe. And we have our own being. So everything is within this space. As in cyberspace, everything is in that space. Similarly, here also, we are within this Maya. Like in a cinema also, it has its own world, as it were. So, in our experience, whatever we see, this whole universe is within Maya. And we can see here good, bad, indifferent, and also devilish, divine. But this is expression of the same reality. Only different names are given. So after this, let us concentrate our text. So last time we recapitulated the whole, almost whole of Vedantasara. And last was that this can be known through mind. Manasaivanu drashtavyam. This can be known through mind. And another Upanishad says, this is Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says that this can be known through mind. Because whatever we know, even devilish or saintliness, everything, whatever we know through, in and through mind. Therefore, mind has its own place. In that mind, everything is conceived. As Swami said, in Maya, everything is conceived. So, Manusaivanu drashtavyam. But another Upanishad says, Kena Upanishad says, Yat manasa na manute. Mind cannot conceive it. See what we see. In mind, we have this this knowledge of this world. But what is behind it, that cannot be conceived even through mind. That's why it is said that mano, beyond mind and speech, um, that mind returns without getting it. So, this is the conflict. So, what is the solution? इत्यनयो श्रुत्यो अविरोधो वृत्ति व्याप्यत्वा अंगीकारेण फल व्यापित्व प्रतिषेध प्रतिपादनात्. So two things we studied. One is vritti vyapti and phala vyapti. Let me first read. Such being the case, there is no contradiction between the following Shruti passage. By the mind alone it is to be perceived, and that which cannot be thought of by the mind. So this was the conflict. So what is that? We are to suppose that the unknown Brahman is brought into contact with only the mental state. See, like when we see something, what happens? Tatra jnanam dhyanashet abhasena ghataspurit. So first it goes, that our attention goes there. Buddhi tat chidabhaso dvavapi vyapnute ghatam. So intellect and chitabhas. Chidabhas means our awareness. Chit abhas. A fraction of our awareness goes and engulfs it, as it were, covers it, as it were. So what is that? Tat, the witness of intellect. So, buddhi tat chidabhasa. So both intellect and the fraction of our awareness goes and engulfs that. Then what happens? Tatra ajnanam dhyanashet. Intellect removes ignorance. Intellect removes ignorance by its capacity to understand. And abhasena ghataspirit. And the chidabhas, Chaitanya, the fraction of Chaitanya that, say, through that I am speaking, through that you are listening. So this is because of presence of Chaitanya, consciousness. But it's only a fraction of it. The example I give is like when you stand in front of a mirror, what happens? Your awareness, when you see that reflection, then you recognize, oh, it is my face. So our awareness goes and covers that, the form, and we recognize. So one is the act of intellect, and second, it is to identify. And that happens, identification happens by the awareness, fraction that is there. A little of our awareness, chit abhas. So all our actions happen because of this. Anyway, this is, we have already discussed in details. So this is to show that mind cannot, this only chidabhas, because of chidabhas, this is happening. Now what happens? Say like when we stand in front of a mirror, then we see our face. We see the reflection of our face. Now we remove that mirror. So what happens? The reflection in the mirror is gone. Where it has gone? In the face itself. So when we conceive something, we want mind to act with it. mind to engulf with that. That's why that what we have discussed, that vritti vyapti, the mental modification goes and covers that things up, then we recognize it. But here what is happening, the realization, when when by a light we can see in a dark corner, but when we put that same light to the sun, it is not visible even, because it goes back. So like the image of our face, image when it is reflected in a mirror, in absence of mirror, it merges with the original. So what is being said? One is vritti vyapta and phala vyapta. So we need mental modification. That is correct. That's why manasaiva anudrashtabhyam. It can be known through mind, because we need that vritti. We need to put our attention to our own self. But this vritti, this awareness, reflection of awareness, cannot reveal it, because it is the origin. Like reflected sunlight on moon cannot reveal sun, because it has come from sun. So this is called phala vyapti. Phala vyapti is not required. So this is logical. We can see same thing in the case of yoga, where the yogi meditates, and what he does, he removes all mental modification. He merges mental modification in the self. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. He stops mind to be fractioned. So there it is merging in the self. Similarly, here also merging the origin, merging the knowledge, awareness in its own self. So this is phala vyapti and vritti vyapti. That is why, as Sri Ramakrishna also said, by shuddha man, mind, through this impure mind we cannot understand. But shuddha man, shuddha buddhi and shuddha atma, one and the same thing. Mind loses its mindness when it is pure, and that pure mind merges in the self, pure Atman. So this way we can understand. And in devotee's point of view also we can understand that he merges his small ego to the divine ego. So there is the same thing. He has no separate existence of his own, his or her. So anyway, in this state what happens? One achieves Brahma Jnana when there is no vritti, when there is no separate awareness. But in the beginning vritti is there. When it merges, so everything is one. So therefore this Brahmakara Chitta Vritti, in the beginning we try to understand what is Brahman. But when that goal is achieved, Brahmakara Chitta Vritti, first it appears, but then it merges in Brahman itself. So this is what we have studied. Now, how to achieve this? This is very important. So there is in Jnana Yoga, in the process of knowledge, there is a set procedure that we have already studied and we know very well. One is called Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana. So what is this Shravana? That should be clear. So here it defines. the Sravana, Manana and Nididhyasana is defined. So, evam bhuta swarupa chaitanya sakshatkara paryantam. So, swarupa chaitanya means what is our real self. And we are to, we are to, uh, we are to get that knowledge. It should be manifested in our knowledge. We should, we should recognize um, the state is being, that state is being explained. Till such realization of the consciousness which is one's own self. So this realization, before realization what we need. When one realizes, then nothing is required. When one identifies oneself, nothing is required. But when there is ignorance of oneself, then we need what? Shravana means hearing. Manana means reflection. And Nididhyasana means meditation on that, to hold that knowledge. Not to get confused again. According to knowledge, we see this world because of our ignorance. Because we do not know exactly what it is. Therefore, the solution will be to know its real nature. And to know that, we should understand, we should listen first, hearing what we are to achieve. Like to go somewhere, we need to understand and we need to know about that place. Similarly, to achieve this, we need to hear first. That is what is being said. Till such realization of the consciousness which is one's own self. This consciousness, awareness, absolute, is our real nature. And till we realize, we need to practice something. What is that? It is Shravana, hearing, and Manana, reflection, and Nididhyasana means holding that, and one should be absorbed in it. So till such realization of consciousness which is one's own self, it is necessary to practice hearing, reflection, meditation and absorption. Therefore, these are also being explained. Now this Sakshatkar, realization means what? In Vedanta we say praptasya prapti. Sometimes we have specs, sometimes we put on our head and then we search everywhere. Then somebody says, what are you searching? Oh, I'm searching my specs. Oh, it is on your head here. Or sometimes even the ornaments, people search. And it is in its own place. Like I think the person is wearing it. Many times it happens. So it is called praptasya prapti, whatever is already within us. Only we have to be aware of it. So this sakshatkar means that one. So one thing is there, that this is present even now when we don't know. But knowing means we are aware that I am same Brahman. So this is recognizing that state. One is it is there, but we don't recognize. Like a gem is on my table, but I don't know whether it is gem or it is a piece of glass. So even when we do not know, it is there. Realization means, or sakshatkar means, we have to recognize. As of now, Everyone is Brahman, each soul is potentially divine. But that does not work because we suffer from miseries. We see differences. We see evil forces. But as we recognize that, oh, it is with me. It is me. And I was searching something which I thought it is not me. So this is present even now when we do not know. Only thing we need to realize it, to be aware of it. So what happens then? Vidyate hridaya granthesh chiddante sarva samshaya. That time all the knots are cut asunder and all the uh, doubts are removed. Since we have doubts, since we do not know, that means we are under ignorance, under the influence of ignorance. But when we know a real self, then there is no confusion, there is no knot in our heart. So this, one should be able to retain the whatever one hears. Only hearing, entering from one ear and going through another, that will not. But we are to hear again and again, and we are to conceive this teaching. We are to understand the import of our hearing. And for that, we should be really purified. Otherwise, what happens? We'll understand in different way. There is a saying, there is a shloka in Vivek Chudamani. Abhavana. First we do not think about it. So if mind is impure, then we won't hear this. And sometimes viparit bhavana. We hear, but we think it is something else. Say like Brahman, the pure self. But we think that it's with all impurities. So viparit bhavana. And sometimes we have some bhavana. We know, but this is not in right perspective. And vipratipattirasya. So this, all kinds of things are there. So Shravana should be such that one should be able to remove all opposing thoughts. And for that matter, one can hear over and over again till that state comes. So this is Shravana. And to understand this, one should put one's own heart. That means he wants to know exactly. The seeker, very important. Seeking is very important. Then it reveals. When we are hungry, then only we enjoy food and we'll find food somewhere. So when we have this hunger, then only we'll hear this. So this is what Shravana is. So till such realization of the consciousness which is one's own self, it is necessary to practice hearing and then reflection. Means cogitation, whether it is right or wrong, whether is it possible, and whatever is opposing thoughts, that is to be nullified by sharp common sense, sharp intellect. So this is called manana, meditation and reflection. And meditation means whatever knowledge is gained, one should be able to hold it. So this is nididhyasana. So therefore these are also being explained because this is helpful for this study. That is why it is explained here. Now what is Shravanam? So Shravanam nama Shadvidlinga. six uh, six components are there. Hearing is the ascertaining through the six characteristic signs that are entire Vedanta philosophy. That the entire Vedanta philosophy establishes the one Brahman without a second. So what is that? The Brahman is one. One means non-dual. It is not the intended meaning to say one, but it's non-dual. When we conceive one, naturally comes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Therefore, when the right word is non-dual, duality is created by Maya, and then the differences are also expressed in it. So why it is important to listen? Because many things are archaic. We have to extract the meaning, the intended meaning the Upanishad has expressed. So it has a process how to even listen. What are the components? So Shravanam Nama, hearing is the ascertainment through the six characteristic signs that the entire Vedanta philosophy establishes. What it establishes? The one Brahman without a second. So there are six characteristic signs. So signs and symptoms. By that, what are those? In the teaching, what should be there? So Tatparya Nirdharanam. Tatparya Nirdharanam. One should be able to understand its right import. Why? Because the Upanishads in some places it's very difficult to understand. We know something which is worldly. We compare, we see some similarities, we see some dissimilarities, and we understand something. But here it is unknown. Only Upanishad is so kind that it informs us. Therefore, this is to be understood in its proper light. So that is why, and sometimes it's archaic, it's very difficult to understand. Therefore, one should try to understand in its right import. So this, now what are the signs and symptoms? The signs, characteristic signs. Lingani tu upakrama upasanghara. Upakrama and upasanghara means beginning and end. The characteristic signs are the beginning and the conclusion. What is the beginning? That means when we start, the subject matter is introduced. So it is, that is given in the beginning, and conclusion also that is the same. So characteristic signs are the beginning and the conclusion, number one. Then repetition. Upanishad is like mother. Mother repeats many things many times so that her child understands and then obeys. And that's why a lady collected all the instructions that mothers give and made a song. It's called mom song. So like get up in the morning and do this, and then go to school and get ready for that, and whenever you are crossing the road, then be careful, look your left, look your right, tie your shoelace. Like that, all the instructions the mother gives. Similarly, Upanishads are also like like mother. Matri Sama Upanishad. So Lingani tu upakrama upasanghara and abhyas. Abhyas means repetition again and again. It will not let us go. It will tell us. So like this, we'll see in Chandogya in one place it's 9 times same thing is repeated, similar things. And at the end, the same conclusions are derived. So linganite upakrama upasanhara abhyasa purvata falartha फल अर्थवाद 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 उपपत्ति आख्यानी. So upapatti means argumentation, that means logical argument is given. So first upakrama upasanghar, that means in the beginning it is mentioned and also at the end it is concluded. Then abhyas, repetition. Apurvata, something unique here. It is not available in the marketplace because this is very unique teaching. Apurvata. So the characteristic signs are beginning and the conclusion, repetition, originality. That means what teaching Vedanta gives, it's very original. It is not commonplace, unique. The result means what is the purpose? What we'll get? So that is called the result. Abhyasa, apurvata, and phala. Phala means what result you'll get, what fruit that we get. And arthavad. Arthavad means that eulogy. Arthavad means the praising. It is like in business also we see that people praise something. Oh, you won't get like this. This is the last piece and it's wonderful. You should get it. You should buy this. In the marketing arena also we see. So it is to give or to state or to say the importance of it. So here also in Upanishad we find it proclaims that this is why it is so important. So arthavad, and then upapatti. Upapatti means the logical presentation. Why it is so? How it can be, this confusion can be removed. So this is that upapatti. Upapatti means whatever is logically correct, that logic is shown. So same thing is given in a shloka. Upakrama upasamhara abhyasa apurvata phalam arthavad upapatti cha lingam tatparya nirnaye. These are characteristic signs. What are those? Thus it has been said, in ascertaining the meaning, the characteristic signs are. So meaning is to be ascertained. Whatever we read, like tat tvam asi, thou art that. So first comes, how can I be the divine? I am this body-mind complex. So this doubt comes. And when even we understand logically, even then we say no, it is not possible. Viparita bhavana. And something we conceive which is not real. The stock example is seeing a snake on a rope. So we have opposing thoughts. Similarly, we think, though we are divine, but we think that I am only this body, I am this mind, I am my thoughts. So upakrama upasamhara. The meaning, the characteristic signs are the beginning and the conclusion, repetition, originality, result, eulogy, and demonstration, or logical argumentations. Now, the first says, prakarana pratipadyasya arthasya tadad. So, like Sanskrit, I'll avoid that. The beginning and the conclusion mean the presentation of the subject matter. So, subject matter is presented in the beginning, and at the end it is concluded. Like in in our mathematics, we equate. Therefore, this is the conclusion. And in between, we give argumentation why it is so, why three angles of a triangle is 180 degrees, how it can be proved. So, at the end, we say now it is proved. So, the beginning and the conclusion mean the presentation of the subject matter of a section at the beginning and end. As for instance, in the 6th chapter of the Chandogya Upanishad, Brahman, the one without a second. What is that? Ekam eva advitiyam. This is one, and it is non-dual, unique. One without a second, which is the subject matter. So in the beginning also it is informed that 6th chapter and second section and first mantra. And at the end also, ityadau aitadatmya midam sarvam. So therefore everything is one. One without a second, which is the subject matter of the chapter, is introduced at the beginning in the words one only without a second, and again at the end in the words in it all that exists has itself. So this way, in the beginning and also at the end, the conclusion is drawn. So this is available in Upanishads. Upakrama, Upasamhara. Now the second is prakarana pratipadyasya vastu nasta tanmadhe pona punyena. So again and again same thing is repeated. Repetition is the frequent presentation of the subject matter in the section. And therefore, tattvamasi, thou art that. So it is repeated again and again. As for instance, in the same section, Brahman, the one without a second, is repeated 9 times in the sentence, thou art that. So this repetition is very important because that impresses a student. And also it inspires, oh, is it? Am I that? So then inspiration comes. So this is, repetition is very important. And in Upanishads we find lots of repetition. As mother, as I said. Now next is called originality. What is special? It is not available somewhere else. So that also is drawn in Upanishads. 87. So prakarana pratipadyasya. Jayo. Originally, the originality means that the subject matter of a section is not available through any other source of knowledge. Whatever Upanishad says that everything is one, it is non-dual, It is not available anywhere. So we find in Mundakupanishad two kinds of vidya, dve vidya veditabhya, para cha apara. One is paravidya and second is aparavidya, not that supreme. Supreme knowledge and not the supreme knowledge. And then it is explained also. Yaya tat aksharam adhigamyate. Akshara means what is immutable. What is immutable, that is known through this study. That's why it is called supreme knowledge. All other things are like that, conceived in our mind through mental modifications and identified also in our mind. But Paravidya is supreme, something very special. It is beyond mind and intellect, and mind and intellect cannot conceive it. Only through pure mind, pure intellect, one realizes this. So, originality means that the subject matter of a section is not available through any other source of knowledge. As for instance, in that very section, Brahman, the one without a second is not knowable through any other means except the Shrutis. Only in Upanishads, in Vedas, it is proclaimed, nowhere else. All other people, even nowadays, whatever they are saying, consciousness, their consciousness studies. So they are also as if it is something objective, some objective knowledge. But actually it is the subject, eternal subject. So this is very special in this. Now what is the fruit of this? Phalam tu prakarana pratipadyasya atmagyanasya tat anushtanasya va tatra tatra shriyamana prayojanam. So the self-knowledge, knowledge of Brahman or self-knowledge, that is prakarana pratipadya. That is to be not first introduced and then that is to be proved. So the result is the utility of the subject matter of a section, self-knowledge, or its practice as mentioned at different places. As for instance, in the same section, the words, the man who has got a teacher knows the Brahman. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. Tasya tavadeva chiram yavadna vimokshase atha sampatse. So, those who have acharya, now acharya means those teachers who have translated this in their own behavior pattern. It is not only speaking the truth, but those who have assimilated, those teachers who have assimilated this teaching, and when they convey, then it influences the student. So Acharyavan Purusha Veda, that means those who have acharyas, such teachers, who have translated this knowledge into their own character. Such a person who has such a teacher will know the Purusha. Purusha means Purishayanat Purnatvatva, who is full, who is complete, who is residing or lying at the center of our being. So that Purusha, a student will understand this reality, this truth, who have a teacher who has teacher who has translated this knowledge into his behavior pattern, he has assimilated it and he practices it. So such a person will realize this Purusha. Yavadeva chiram yavanna vimokshe atha sampatse. Till the man who has get a teacher knows the Brahman, he has to wait only till he is delivered from the birth, from the body. Then he becomes united with Brahman. So this is the teachings. So it is the fruit. That means a lots of difference. When one has not realized, then this world looks real, and all its suffering is heaped on the person. Person suffers because of that. But when one gets this knowledge, then all the suffering goes away. So this is the difference. And that is why one should try to attain it. Here the utility of the knowledge of Brahman, the one without a second, is its attainment. So this fruit is also informed in Upanishads. What will you gain by this? The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. Brahmavit Brahmaiva bhavati. Knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. So this is the fruit of this study, and it is mentioned in the Upanishads. We have the last one, so that also we can take it. Prakarana pratipadyasya tatra tatra prashansan arthavad. Arthavad means like what is the benefit, and praising, especially praising, so that students are inspired to follow this. So eulogy is the praising of the subject matter of the section at different places. As for instance, in the same section, the words, "Have you ever asked for that instruction by which one hears what has not been heard, one think what has not been thought, one knows what has not been known." So it says, "Uta tamadesham apraksho yenashrutam shrutam bhavati amatam matam vigyatam avigyatam vigyatam." Whatever is not known, by knowing this you will know that. Know this, then whatever is not even heard, you can hear that. So everything, all knowledge is present in this. It is a repository of all kinds of benefit. Then only a student try to attain this. So we will stop here, because though we have another one, but we will stop here and then we will continue. Is there any question? Anyway, we stop here.
We will talk about this eulogy again next time, right?
Yes. We'll
Yes.
do that same thing. First we start what we have studied, and then we go forward.
Okay.
We say our prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tatsat. Om Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. यतो वाचो निवर्तन्ते अप्राप्य मनसा सह. Wherein speech and mind returns without getting it. So it is subtle, it is, but this is present with us all the time, whether we know it or not, whether we realize it or not. This is our reality. It is present all the time, because all our behavior is possible in and through this. The self, the awareness, the existence. And existence, when we exist, then only we even think about it. So existence, awareness, and also bliss absolute. So thank you very much.
Pranam Maharaj.
Pranam.
Thank you.
Pranam Maharaj.
So namaste, but no question today. Okay.
No.
Think about it. You know, like some don't like questions. Say if you ask question, they say you better meditate on it. The questions will be answered. Huh? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Jai Ma.